Tuesday, another sound check. Let me get right on it. Make sure I ain't talking to nothingness. We are back to Barbecue Pit Tuesday night UFC previews. UFC Vegas 38 coming back solo this time. Shout out to my boy Ian out in Dubai, fucking on a business trip. And we're gonna jump right into it. I have a quick one. Just when it's just me, it's just quick. Just quick facts. Picks. Hang on to the next. Aspen lad Macy Chesson. Maddie is not here. He can't pronounce names for me. But Aspen lad 9-1. Her only loss is a TKO loss to Jermaine Durandame in 2019. Her last fight was TKO win over Yana Kunitskaya, and that was December of 2019. So she is almost 2 years out of competition. 6 wins by knockout. She's got a 3-inch height and a 6-inch reach disadvantage going up against a striker in Macy Chesson. 7-1 she is. Chesson's only loss was a decision loss to Lena Landsberg, September 2017. 2-0 since then, or 2019, sorry. 2-0 since then. Decision win over Shayna Young and Marion Renew in March of 2021, which was her last fight. So she's coming off about, I want to say, 6-month layoff, whereas Aspen Ladd is closing in on a 2-year layoff. I think that's going to have a little bit to do with what's going on. You know, people talk about men's MMA, people talk about women's MMA, and it's similar, but it's not, because I think it's similar that high-level fighters are very close in competition, and fights can go either way. It depends on game plan. But when it comes to women's MMA, you know, time off, suspensions, things like that happen to women in MMA, I think affect women way more than it would affect a man taking off for that long in competition and coming back. With that being said, Chesson, I believe, is going to come out rangy. I think Aspen Ladd is one of the best boxers in her division right now, although she will come in with a major reach disadvantage. I think she is going to be able to get it on the inside, and I got Aspen Ladd in that fight. I'm kind of upset that the fucking Contender Series will not pop up. Whatever, we'll get it done after I'm done with this. Misha Serkinov, Krzysztof Jotko. Krzysztof Jotko, 22-5, 15 out of his 22 wins via decision. His last fight was a decision loss to Sean Strickland, 8-5 in the UFC. Biggest wins of his career over Eric Anders, Marc-Andre Barriot, and Alan Ameretsky. Serkinov, black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. Been finished in 100% of his losses, 6-4 in the UFC. Losses in the UFC include Johnny Walker, Ryan Spann, Glover Teixeira, Volkan Oezdemir. As his wins include Jimmy Crute, Pat Cummings, Nikita Krylov, and Ion Cutelaba. However you say his name. Serkinov, I think, by any means. I think his striking, he's going to have more power in his striking. Jotko's probably a better kickboxer. Leg kicks, body kicks, staying on the outside is probably Jotko's game, but I think Serkinov has a lot of power. And if he's able to land that power on Jotko, it's going to be night-night. And also, if the fight goes to the ground, I don't think it's even close. I think it's Serkinov. Serkinov coming in at a plus 140 underdog. I think they have the line a little bit messed up there. I'm going to go Misha Serkinov. And if I had to guess a way path to victory, I'm going to go submission. Just bigger percentage chance I'm going to go submission. Alex Oliveira taking on Nico Price. Nico Price 14-5-2, 10 knockout wins, 3 out of his 5 losses via knockout. He is winless since his TKO win over James Vick in October of 2019. He had a few, I think, 2-3 losses in that span, and then also a no contest, which was a draw against Cowboy Cerrone that was turned into a no contest because of a marijuana drug test for Nico Price. Go figure. I'm glad that shit is over with, and that Nevada now is not going to punish fighters for doing something that is recreationally legal in their state. Alex Oliveira. Now, I'm going to say this. I found out a lot about Alex Oliveira in my research about him. I thought, and I guess this might be a prejudice thing against Brazilians in jiu-jitsu and just the last name Oliveira in general, but Oliveira's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu compared to Nico Price's brown belt. Very interesting. Also, Nico Price, only 2 out of his 19 fights that are not draws or no contests went to decision. So a lot of finishes on his career. Alex Oliveira, 22-10, 1-2, winless since this decision win over Peter Sabata, July of 2020. He's on a 2-fight losing streak right now, being submitted by Shkakbat Rachmanov and Randy Brown. 12 wins by knockout, 6 out of 10 losses by submission. It's obvious what his downfall is obviously his grappling and his submission game, but he do has power in his hands. And Nico Price, multiple fight of the night, even sometime fight of the year contenders. He bangs. He throws his hands. He's not scared of an all out brawl, and could be his detriment in this fight. But I think if he's going to be smart about this, he could take the fight to the ground, and it would seem on paper that a submission win would be easy for Nico Price. Either way, I think a brawl with Nico Price is not going to be pretty for Alex Oliveira either. Alex Oliveira, similarly to Nico Price, has kind of a brawler's mentality. He's known to throw caution to the wind. His fight with Robbie Lawler, with the blood smearing all over the octagon. So I mean, they're somewhat similar as far as brawling. I'm just going to give the edge to Nico Price, and I'm going to go Nico Price probably by a decision. I don't think that I think both of these men are very tough. It's going to be hard to finish either one of them, and I'm thinking Nico Price more than likely has the better cardio than Alex Oliveira. Co-main event, which looks like the co-main event to me, possibly might not be the co-main event. But Kevin Holland versus Kyle Dawkins. Holland, second-degree black belt in Kung Fu, black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. He's been working on his wrestling at American Kickboxing Academy with Daniel Cormier, Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's going to be cornered for the first time ever since he retired, being back anywhere close to a cage or the UFC at all. Johnny Hendricks will be in Kevin Holland's corner. Holland, 21-7, 12 knockouts. Never been knocked out in his career. 2 out of 7 of his losses via submission. Dawkins is coming into this fight 10-2. Never been finished. 8 wins by submission, 2 wins by decision. 1-2 in the UFC. Lost decision to Brandon Allen and Phil Hawes, and then has a decision win over Dustin Stolfus. Former Cage Fury Fighting Championship middleweight champion. Defended his belt twice after winning it. He's great on the ground. He's a great grappler. Kevin Holland has shown that in his last 2 fights, Marvin Vettori and Derek Brunson, he needs a lot of work in the grappling department. And he went to AKA, started working Daniel Cormier. He took the right steps to advancing his grappling. Now let's put it to the test. He's going up against a grappler. The fight's even money. I'm going to go with Kevin Holland. Just I'm a little bit biased there. I like Kevin Holland. He's like one of my favorite fighters. You talk about fights. You're in the media. You're not supposed to pick favorites. You're not supposed to show biasness. But if you're a fan of fighting, you're a fan of mixed martial arts. You have favorites. You can't hide it. There's no hiding it. You definitely have favorites, and Kevin Holland is definitely one of mine. So I'm going to go Kevin Holland. Thiago Santos, Johnny Walker, main event. Thiago Santos on a 3-fight winning streak, split decision, or losing streak, sorry. Split decision loss to John Jones. He was submitted by Glover Teixeira, and then he lost a decision to Alexander Rakic in his last fight. 21-9, 15 wins by knockout, 3-3 since moving to light heavyweight. He's a black belt in Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. He'll be going against the brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu in Johnny Walker, who will have a 4-inch height and a 6-inch reach advantage over Santos. 18-5, 15 knockout wins. 3 out of 5 of his losses are by TKO. 4-2 in the UFC. Decision losses to Nikita Krylov and a TKO loss to Corey Anderson, while his wins include Ryan Spann, Misha Serkinov, and Khalil Roundtree. He's fought guys with power in their hands like Thiago Santos. I don't think he's ever fought anybody with as high a level of jiu-jitsu as Thiago Santos. Let me look. Maybe Nikita Krylov, but he lost to Nikita Krylov. I think this comes down to, and Santos is a minus 300 favorite right now. I would hope that gets way closer as we come close to fight week. One person we've seen, just completely have his way with Johnny Walker was Corey Anderson, who not only is a power striker but has great wrestling, so is able to threaten that wrestling. But Thiago Santos is more of a leg kick, power puncher, head kicks. He's I don't think he's going to be threatening more with the takedowns, and I think Johnny Walker has a really good chance to get a win here. Therefore, because I know Ian is probably going to go the safe pick and say Thiago Santos, I'm probably going to go Johnny Walker on this fight, which leads us to the rest of the card. Joe Solik versus Jared Gooden. I hate that fight because I love both of those guys. Joe Solik, I've watched him before the UFC. Same thing with Jared Gooden. And these guys, have just like Holland become, kind of some of my favorite fighters, and they're going to be going up against each other there. Antonio Chefchenko versus Casey O'Neill. Betch Correa versus Carol Rosa. Jamie Malarkey will be taking on Devontae Smith. Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Galeto Frejillo. Alejandro Perez will be fighting Johnny Eduardo. Sean Soriano versus Fernando Padilla. Alexander Hernandez versus Mike Breen. And then finally, Shayna Young versus Stephanie Edgar. Those last three fights were announced, but I'm not sure if they are for a fact definitely going to happen. But they were announced. I couldn't find anything saying that they weren't happening. But, the UFC website, Tapology, all these different things show, with this COVID shit that's going on, they show fight was added, fight was taken. It's kind of hard to keep up with what's going to happen. But I think those three fights are the only ones that I would say are up in the air. Every other fight's definitely going to happen. It's going to be a great fight card. Something to point out, Antonio Shevchenko coming in at a plus 250 underdog is insane, man. She's got a very similar fighting style to her sister. We've seen she had a little bit of rocky past before, but damn, man, minus 300 as a favorite as her opponent is it's a little crazy. I think if I'm picking a sleeper fight, it's going to be the even money Joseph Solik, Jared Gooden. Like I said, I've been following these guys for a long time, and Jared Gooden has got he's got power in his striking. He's got great jiu-jitsu. Joseph Solik coming from Salty Dog or jiu-jitsu. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He works with John Salter. And also in his most recent fight, he's shown that he has significantly developed his striking. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys do up against each other. If I have to pick a sleeper fight, that is going to be it. Next week, next Tuesday, catch us back here to preview Mackenzie Dern versus Marina Rodriguez. Looking like a kind of weak card. It says Tim Elliott and Matthias Nicolau is the co-main event. I'm sure that's going to change. Let me see if I can find the co-main event here. Oh, okay, so the Jared Gooden fight might not be happening because, or maybe he's fighting Jared Gordon. Maybe I just wrote it down wrong. Let's see. Because Jared Gooden's fighting Randy Brown, not this weekend, but next weekend. Yeah, he's fighting Jared Gordon. Either way, still. So not the same story as Gooden, as far as watching him beforehand. But I've had a pretty good relationship with Jared Gordon on Twitter, and I follow his story pretty closely. And he also, finisher. He's a brawler. All four of his losses, all by knockout, because he lives and dies by the sword. And that's going to be very, very entertaining going up against Joseph Solik. So until next week, and we can actually preview the Jared Gooden fight, where he'll be going up against Randy Brown. Stay barbecued. We'll see you next time. Hopefully Ian will be back. I know he's your favorite out of the two of us. You gotta tell me, but you know what I'm saying? All right, man. Holla.